Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris, and today I'm looking at the debut album, Saberlight Chronicles, by UK power metal band Fellowship. So the UK doesn't give enough credit to power metal bands, in my opinion. It's a great genre with some amazing music and amazing musicians, so I'm going to point out one of them that you can go check out today. Fellowship, a band that I discovered, of course, in the home of discovering new bands, the New Blood stage at Bloodstock Festival. It was 2021, it was last year's Bloodstock. It's nearly time! It was last year, one of the few power metal bands this year. Also there was the band Battleborn, who were of course great. So of course all of us nerds flocked to that tiny tent and we filled it to the brim. It was a great show, and as far as I'm aware, the first show that Fellowship ever did. So what a great way to start, really. A few months later, I had the absolute privilege of chatting to Matt, the vocalist of the band, for this channel. Please go check that out if you've not done so already. It was such a great video, one of my personal favourites that we've ever done, especially if you're a vocalist. Definitely go check it out. He's really insightful guy. So I, of course, was following the release of this debut album very closely. I loved the few songs that we had available to us, so a full-length album was just way too tempting to resist. I even watched the live stream that the band did the day before the album dropped, where the band talked about the album and did some dumb games and horrendous punishments on each other, which was hysterical. It was a lot of fun. More bands do that, please. It was great fun. Anyhow, it's now finally here. Saberlight Chronicles is out, so let's dive straight into it. The first track, Until the Fires Die, sets you up perfectly for what you need to expect from this album. It shows off exactly the kind of power metal that Fellowship are doing. I would say, if I was to describe it, it's less epic and more majestic, really. I mean, it's epic in the sense that all power metal is epic, but I guess more Rhapsody, more Twilight Force, less Blind Guardian, if that sounds like it makes any sense at all. It kind of makes sense in my head. The opening riff sets you up for that vibe straight away. It's loud, it's triumphant, and nothing dour going on about this song, or any of the album, to be fair. It's a very uplifting experience, nothing somber or angry or any of those normal hallmarks you get in heavy metal. So with that stirring chorus, which chants, "Sing with us till the fires die and the fellowship will grow," it leads you into what is an extremely rousing album, full of hooks, full of feel-good anthems and moments. I could discuss everything that's great about this album in this first song, but let's find some other examples, shall we? What I find really cool is that whilst all these songs are more or less following a similar sort of footprint and feel, and all the best things, as I say, about the album can be found in pretty much every single song, with a couple exceptions, which I'll get to, there are little moments that give each song their own little special moment and identity. On the track Atlas, for example, as well as having another stellar chorus, we have an a cappella bridge. It's neat. I didn't see that coming. It's also one of the few times that I've heard a cappella and not wretched. No diss on a cappella fans, but you know, it's those little touches here and there that keep an album interesting, especially in a genre as well established and homogenous, I guess, as power metal. Not going to talk about every track. Glory Days is great. You've likely heard it already. Let's move on. Oak and Ash gives me some serious Dragon Force vibes in the guitar playing, in the intro, and especially in the post-chorus as well. It's just so Dragon Force. That's actually interesting after 5 minutes. I'll take this song as well to mention just how good every single member of this band is. I've mentioned on occasions before that I think musicians in power metal are some of the best musicians in heavy metal. It always showcases some of the best talent in this scene, and on this album, genuinely some of the most impressive musicianship I have heard in quite a long time. Every member absolutely brings it. On this song, again, I bring up the fast as hell guitar work. which is extremely fun to listen to and interesting, and not just technical but also engaging. And Matt's vocals just soar so high across the entire album. Hearts Upon the Hill is just so awesome. Where the previous song brings the speed, this one brings the heavy hitting beats. This has such Sabaton vibes going through it, and I love everything about it. One of my favourite choruses on the album, not my absolute favourite, we'll come to that soon enough. Hours of Wintertime is where we gush over Matt. Dear God, he's an incredible fucking vocalist. Whilst I do profess that every member of this band are masters of their respective instruments, Matt is simply a stunning vocalist. I think most people will come away citing him as the highlight of the whole album, which is totally fair enough. Just listen to the chorus of Hours of Wintertime. He can get right up there and he can stay there as well. I also love the driving riff during the chorus as well that gives the whole thing such great momentum. And if you ever get the chance to see these guys live, for God's sake, go check them out, because they will blow your mind, because they can actually do it live as well. None of this is fake or pretend. If you haven't heard Glint yet, what have you been doing? It's just perfection. I love the vibe. I loved talking to Matt about the song. The post-chorus is the best part of the entire album. It's just perfection. Not going to go too much further into this one. It speaks for itself, and go watch that music video as well. It's just so much fun, and hearing from Matt how chaotic it was behind the scenes just makes it even more fun and even more hilarious, and I love it. And now we have my absolute favourite chorus on the album. For the saints beyond the river, I will take another step, for to see the final thread of life will soul my soul again. For the saints. The Saint Beyond the River is fantastic. It's almost gospel, sort of, but the chorus just hits you right from the off. It's powerful, it's catchy, it will worm its way into your head and will not leave you for several days, I promise you that. If you like piano-esque ballads, this album has one of those too, with Silhouette. Not my favourite power metal ballad that I've heard, to be perfectly fair, but still good. I can imagine a crowd full of people singing this back to the band with their arms around the person next to them, as every power metal fan knows to do at every show they go to. The closing track, coming in at over 9 minutes, is fittingly awesome as the closer of the album. But this song definitely leaves you wanting more. And yes, I want more. Fellowship have absolutely knocked it out of the park for their debut album. I've not mentioned every single track, mostly for the sake of not repeating myself, but every single song is really, really, really good. This band take, let's face it, one of the most homogenous genres in heavy metal, but pour every ounce of effort they can into making genuinely one of the best debut albums I've heard in quite some time. They're not necessarily doing something radically different with this genre either. They're not completely reinventing the power metal wheel, as it were. They're taking the foundations of the genre and what's expected of it, but doing it to the best possible standard and making it the most impressive that I've heard from this genre in such a long time. And just an extra level of detail, in case you wanted to get more out of this album, and I wouldn't blame you if you were hungry for more, because I certainly am, the band have released a book to go along with the album. I haven't had time to read it yet, but I will definitely do so at some point. It's just another showcase of the effort and passion that this band clearly have for what they're doing. They're not phoning any of this in. They want this to be the most epic and fulfilling version of power metal that they can possibly make it. Link of course down in the description below where you can find said book. This is strictly for fans of power metal, of course, but if you're a die-hard fan of the genre, go listen to Fellowship's Saberlight Chronicles. You will be seeing this band climb the ranks of the genre, I guarantee it.
the